Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
You got to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative and latch on to the affirmative.
Welcome, everyone, to another spectacular episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting into the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Oh, my goodness. Today, we have the star of Burlesque to Broadway and Rita Hayworth, The Heat Is On. She's appeared on Good Morning America, Oprah, and has been a finalist on Shark Tank, to name a few of the things you may have seen her on. She has numerous credits as a producer, writer, and performer, and she uses this experience to help entrepreneurs, executives, and artists step on stage into their personal power and capture their dreams. She is quite a performer. She is a lovely human being, and I can't wait to connect you to her. Thrive Loud listeners, Quinn Lemley. Quinn, welcome to Thrive Loud.
Thank you so much, Lou. I'm so excited to be here.
She's coming to us from New York City. She is on stages. She's performing. She is speaking. She is dynamic. And most importantly, she really cares about helping people better themselves and better herself. So I want to do a little rewind, just a little bit, Quinn. I want you to bring the listeners up to speed and understand how this career that you've navigated and the line that you went, how it all kind of started. I don't want to go all the way to the womb. I want to get to the point to understand how we got to where you are today.
I have always known that I wanted to be on stage and that I wanted to be a performer. And then I've also have an entrepreneurial side to me. So I'm directing and producing and writing. And so that's been really fun too, because I wanted to create my own opportunities and create opportunities for other people as well. So I've gotten into this business. I studied voice in France, and I went to Interlochen Arts Academy and then NYU. And I just knew that New York was where I needed to be, and the arts and speaking and singing has taken me all over the world, able to share and connect with people on major stages, which has been a lot of fun.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the two shows that you're in right now, because two most things that people know you for. So let's talk about each one of them. I want to work backwards though, because I want to talk about Rita Hayworth. For those who haven't had a chance, we'll put a link in the show notes so you can get a glimpse of the links of some of the stuff that Quinn has done with it. Has this been one of your favorite performers over the years? Because you obviously emulate her. You even look like her, some would say.
Thank you.
And you perform like her. So tell us, how did that path of someone, that you've obviously admired, but is it someone who you've always admired?
Yeah, yes and no. This is it's not a long, short story. It also ties in with Burlesque to Broadway. My Granny Lemley, my dad's mom, lived in an apartment building behind our house in Indiana. And every day after school, I'd go over to her house. And she was a teacher, and she was very prim and proper, but she had those 8-track tapes of like all the Broadway shows and all the musicals and jazz and burlesque and everything. And we would watch all these old movies and Carol Burnett. So I loved, and we'd share biographies, and we gossip about these people like Mae West and Betty Davis. But ironically, I didn't know Rita Hayworth until I was starring in a show off Broadway called Born to Rumba. And I had people from, 2 guys from Broadway World came and saw me, and they said, you look like Margarita Cancino, who became Rita Hayworth. And I was playing a Cuban nun that used to be a showgirl in Havana before Castro. And so they were like, you have to meet Carter Inskeep, who wrote Always Patsy Cline. And so together we collaborated on this show, and it's been incredible. It's all about women's empowerment. It's about resilience. And Rita Hayworth, I did all of the research on her, and then you have to throw it away and make it your own. And so coming out of COVID, it's much more like the Me Too movement and what it was like for a woman to survive in a men's world in 1940s Hollywood during World War II. And it's such a powerful story that younger women are coming and they're just leaning forward with this show because it's so moving. And the music is great. It's all the music from the 1940s.
Which is where I wanted to go with this. I've met Quinn over the last year or so through NSA and NYC, and she has a knowledge almost like an old soul. You really have like the music that you like, the activities that you deal with. They're from another generation. I was talking about pop music or something like that, and you know this older stuff. So learning all of it, bringing that all to life, that must have been like, perfect for you.
Oh, I love it. I mean, the great lyrics, of Cole Porter and, Irving Berlin, Jerome Kern. I just love them. And people resonate with them. And I do it with either a quartet in a smaller venue, or I do it with a big band when I'm on big stages that are, like 1,200 seats. I lost you. I can't hear you.
Wait, there we go.
Now
I'm
I
back.
hear you.
No one knows what happened there. We went into the world of mute or something like that. I zoomed myself or something. I have a question for you. Here it is. You have this stage presence and confidence, and a lot of that confidence is something that can be trained and taught to other people in other lines of work and helping them do that. How do you help people step on stage? Can we talk about this work that you do and do that? I would love to hear this, and so would our listeners.
It's interesting. Well, first, I'm a director as well as a producer and performer, and so I can see where your power is in your body language or being on stage or your vocal variety. And I've been lucky that I've been working with Speaker University. I've been teaching stagecraft for the students at NSA to give back, and it's just exciting to take somebody's performance and give them a few adjustments, and it changes the message. It changes the way they communicate and the way they're resonating with their audience, the way they're connecting. And there are all these basic stagecraft tools that I've been using and learning all my life being in the theater and film and television.
Okay, now you do lots of things. You perform on stage and act. You act and sing, two separate different things. You direct, you produce, you coach, and you teach. Quinn, if you were to pick one of those hats every day, which is the hat you would go to first? Which is the one that you love the most?
I love them. They're all interconnected. I love them all, but singing is my passion. When it's in the right setting and it's all going well and you're in the zone, it's as though like last weekend I was doing a bunch of shows for APAP, which is the Performing Arts Conference, and I just felt like I was in the flow with the band, and every night I had different band members, and the story was so compelling, and I just felt that I was just channeling the truth and connecting with the audience, and there's nothing better than that. It's an out-of-body experience. Well, I mean, maybe, it's the connection.
There could be something, but no, you know what?
Right.
There is nothing better. I totally agree with you, right?
Right.
But I think there's something interesting here. You have an energy, and I think this is one of the things that, that it requires to put on stage. And as you're helping people, whether they're, coaching people to do the stuff from the coaching stuff, or even directing the people that you're putting on stage, helping them understand what that energy is. Is it a feeling to you? Is it something you're easily able to describe? Like when you're helping someone try to achieve what they do, or someone's even directing you, what's your connecting language? What does Quinn need to hear to make the switch flip?
It's never don't do this, or the worst thing you can do is to demonstrate for somebody. You have to see what works for the person's energy and what makes them powerful, what is their presence is so important. And like your presence is different than my presence, or, everybody has a different way of expressing themselves. So you want to find where the person's power is. And so you try to use language that brings that out in them in an organic way.
You've been performing the shows that you've been doing both on Broadway, the Broadway, and obviously the Rita Hayworth roles. And Rita Hayworth, you've been very busy. It's been picked up since the summer. It got rave reviews. You've been all over the place with this. The excitement of the business of the show itself is one thing, and then there's the excitement of performing. That's a hard act to balance because there's a lot of stress to make sure all the pieces are working. How do you, Quinn, how do you keep it all together? How do you keep it all focused and balanced so that, you can deliver the best product, but also give that amazing performance?
I really make sure I center myself every day. I have a whole ritual. I have to work out. I have to meditate. I like take that, at least an hour of the day to center myself, to think about what I want, and I sit in gratitude, and I move and breathe.
I love it.
Yeah.
No, you have more. Keep going. I don't want to.
But I'm essentially running a company. I am running a company, and I have great people helping me, and I delegate, but I get things done. Like I just do it. When something needs to be done, I am a perfectionist, but sometimes it's better to get it done and be out there than worrying, is it perfect? Because it'll never be perfect.
Right. I always want to ask this question about performers because this is something that's really challenging. The hours that you have to put in, right? There's rehearsal earlier in the day. There's getting yourself physically ready. Then there's the performance itself. And then, oh, by the way, there's the show. And then you're all got adrenaline going up. When does Quinn sleep?
After hours after the show, but I do have to schedule the sleeping in. I do make sure, like I just was doing APAP, which was a week. I had a booth. I'd never had a booth before. I had 3 different agents shopping my various shows: The Ultimate Queen Celebration, Rebel, The Many Lives of David Bowie, and my Rita Hayworth, The Heat Is On. And then I was repping Burlesque to Broadway and my Pink Floyd show. And it was intense because you had the opening plenaries and you had the meetings, and it's like a jungle of networking. You know how these conferences are. And there are 10 stages with 15-minute slots. And I did one at 6:50 p.m. and then one on Saturday night at 11:05 p.m. And then I did the full show, a matinee on Sunday. So you have to get in hair and makeup. I really scheduled the time in to get ready and to make sure I'm vocalizing and resting and I'm, in the proper headspace.
Listeners, I was bringing all of this up because one of the things that, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a performer on stage, whether you're an athlete, whether you are trying to figure out how to run your own business, this type of planning, I think the stage, like I was talking about the fact that you do this thing called step on stage, but I actually think it's how you need to be to step on stage. I think that's the thing that you probably bring to the table that's best because there's an energy that you need to live up to. You know exactly what that needs to be. It's a big energy. It also it has its ups and downs within the performance, and that's just like our days. And I think a lot of people should look at the way that professional performers think about that routine. I know athletes do. Where they used to make fun of, there was a baseball player who was like a closer, and he would literally take a nap like 20 minutes before he was supposed to go on because that was his best cycle when he first woke up. So,
right.
Yeah, right. Like all of that is really important as it relates to, for those who are professional speakers or thought leaders, like think about your business as a cadence and the energy you require. I think that's the prep that that performers do better than anyone, and they learn it by trade and practice, but you've been doing it for a while, and you do agree with me on this is my point.
Oh, totally. And also, I mean, it's practice. What's the quickest way to Carnegie Hall? And so it's all the time that you do in the room alone that gets you ready to be on stage because it's live. You don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen. And it has. I've had all kinds of strange things happen on stage. And, you have to be centered and in the moment. It's like the basketball player who, how many hoops does he have to shoot to get that winning shot? But it's the consistency of practicing. And also that's where I find I get the greatest inspiration. I'll be doing scales or working out or dancing, and it's like all of a sudden I know how to solve a problem.
Yeah. Quinn, you are giving a gift to the world in the performances you give and the education you're doing, which is why you're here on Thrive Loud, and that's why you're
Thank you.
doing so amazing. But I always love to ask people who create great content this question. You give a gift to the world with your talent, with your voice, with the product of the production that you give. But there's always a happy accident that ends up happening to the creator. They get a gift in turn. Mm-hmm. Quinn, what is the gift that you received for the product, for the quality, for the performances that you give? What's the gift that comes back to you?
I think that when I meet people after the show, and whether it's Burlesque to Broadway, and because in the show I talk about my relationship with my grandmother and my family, but that special connection, people will come up to me and they'll be crying and they're like, you reminded me, you were so vulnerable about these moments, or you were funny and you reminded me of my relationship. And also with Rita Hayworth, her life was a challenging journey. She had 5 husbands, and she, was the first star. She said, she was scary because 17 was her lucky number. And and she was the first star to have Alzheimer's and was sexually abused by her first husband and her father. But what a life. I mean, she was the first princess. She was the biggest movie star in the world in 1946, and had her own production company, and was a mother, and was her own business person, and was one of the great beauties in the world who lit up the screen. And for women, they're like, the story is so raw and so touching and funny. I mean, Carter's writing is just really provocative and funny and self-deprecating, but it's also looking for truth in our lives. And the message is that, we make our choices that create our destiny, that we're responsible for the choices that we make in life, and accepting, getting up and saying yes and showing up in spite of whatever comes your way, that positivity, it's so important. And people are like, if she could go through that, I can do this next thing. And so that's a gift that I love it to hear people get so inspired.
I love it. And that's got to be the most rewarding part of it all, or them coming up to you afterwards and just giving their own personal story. You connecting with everybody.
Yeah.
Let's do a big plug section here, because we have got a lot of things to promote: dates, promos, things where people can find you, social handles. We're going to put it all in the show notes, but it gets more engagement coming here. We're recording this in January, but it's coming out in early February, right around like Valentine's Day. So
that's perfect, because Rita Hayworth was the love goddess.
Well, and fittingly, you can give all of that. So share with the listeners everything that we need to know, and it's the floor is yours.
Well, my big news is I'm going to be performing in London at the Pheasantry in Chelsea. And you can on February 16th and 17th. So if you know anybody in London, send them to my site, quinlemley.com, for tickets. I have never performed in London before, and I am so excited because I'm bringing the show. Hopefully we'll have some West End producers, and my goal is to bring it to the West End in a limited run in a theater. So awesome. 16th and 17th of February, and it's at the Pheasantry, but you can go to quinlemley.com for all the links.
You also can see her actively on Instagram and all these other places and social handles. We'll put those links in there as well.
Oh, wonderful.
Quinn Lemley, are you ready to go down Fun Street here on Thrive Loud?
I am always ready to go down Fun Street, Lou Diamond.
So here we go. Here is the question.
Okay.
Can you share with the listeners the 3 movies that you listed as your all-time favorites? Because I have never seen a range like this one. Go ahead. Do you remember what they were?
Well, of course, Gilda, Rita Hayworth's famous film noir.
Yep.
And then I have a very corny side to me. I am from Indiana. So I love Blades of Glory. I love him. He's so fabulous. And the other one is Austin Powers. You know, I like the
Yes.
Wahoozy.
You like the whoozy, the whole bit, yes.
Yeah.
And just the range of everything here was too much. I actually heard it, and I'll actually read through these things, listeners, and I'll see them. And every now and then, they're very common movies where they leave a blank, or they don't have something, or they don't know. When I saw this one, I go, yeah, nobody has given this package of movies before. But all awesome stuff. And Blades of Glory, I've watched a couple of times. It's hard not to laugh. And corny humor.
Oh, I love it.
I'm going to ask, before we get through the speed round, I'm going to start off with a different one here. And we call this is the perfect person to have on this program, because this is a speakeasy pub crawl, somebody who you would find in a speakeasy, possibly, singing. But here it's a shot of gumption. And on this pub crawl on Fun Street, all I do is ask questions that you know the answers to. So this is going to be a lot of fun. And
okay,
we're going to make this a little, we're going to entertain our listeners as well. Okay. So first of all,
okay,
can you tell me, of late, something relatively recently, doesn't have to be from whatever, it could be from one of the shows you're performing in. Is there a song that you love to hear, or maybe one that motivates you and pumps you up?
Yes, I've been asked to do a lot of benefits. I'm doing a benefit on a birthday party on Friday, but I've done a lot of fundraisers lately for charity events. And one of my favorite songs is "Accentuate the Positive."
Okay.
Because I think we need positivity right now with everything that's going on in the world, and people really get into it.
I like it. Accentuate the positivity. Yeah. A favorite food that is not a dessert.
Oysters.
Okay.
But they have to be small.
So you're like an East Coast person, not a West Coast oyster. There's like a difference. There's like one's like rocky,
No, I like them both, but I like them to be small, like a Kumamoto or a smaller one. I don't like the big fleshy ones.
Gotcha. A favorite dessert.
Chocolate souffle with vanilla ice cream. And I make the best. I knew Julia Child and James Beard, and I make the best chocolate souffles ever.
With those two people, you can't go wrong.
Yes.
An activity you wish you did more of.
Tennis.
Oh. An activity you wish you did less of.
Laundry.
That's actually a really good answer. I like that. A new activity to you, one you've recently tried that you like so much, you want to tell everybody else to try.
Having a booth at APAP and showcasing at APAP, I can't tell you. I used to be really intimidated by those industry conferences that we all have, and you're selling your wares, you're a speaker or you're a performer or a musician. And I used to think that the managers and agents or the producers had all the power. And I because of what's happened in my life, I am like, I have nothing to lose. And so I said yes. I got 3 showcases. I got 3 agents 2 weeks before for 3 of my shows. I just asked. And then I had this booth, and my booth was the most beautiful booth there. And I had I had like 5 people helping me, and I had such great conversations, and I just had conversations and learning what other people are doing. We all need each other. And my girlfriend Tati just painted, I don't know if I
can see it.
Painting it,
there.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm on a Bentley here.
There we go.
She did two paintings. Another one's in my living room of me performing in Gilda, and she brought them to the booth. And so I had Walt Disney Productions coming up to me. Everybody's loving her paintings. She's Ukrainian, and she's like, "Quinn, darling, I have to paint you." And she does all these celebrities, and she painted me. So I had tulips, and I had a beautiful, show posters, and it was just really great. But I think that we forget that we're all in this together, and it's about making connections. Again, connections.
Nobody's more on that page than we are here in Thrive Loud. 2 more questions. Right. 2 more questions. The first is, if I could snap my finger and Quinn Lemley could be anywhere in the world, where is she?
Paris.
Oh, and how you've been, I imagine.
I just got back. My godson is 17 and he lives in the south of France. So I just kind of passed through. I spent a week in Paris and after being in Nice. I love it. My dream is to sing there. I really would like to bring Rita Hayworth, and I could do it in French. I speak French, so I might need a little bit of help with it. But I think that
you're not too far away in London. I think the Channel is right there. It can happen. You're pretty close.
I know if I can get Benjamin Biolay to come and see it. He's a famous arranger. He's like the David Foster of France. Maybe. I don't know. And he produces, so that would be great. And I did get to sing with five. I was on a boat, and I was asked to sing under the Eiffel Tower on this movie person's boat with five violinists.
Wow,
it was incredible.
So the last question for Quinn Lemley on the show: could you please, for the Thrive Loud listeners, maybe sing a little line or two from one of your key performance here for Rita Hayworth? I think it would be great. I think you could pull something together here to give us a little sample, a little appetizer, so they can get an idea what they want.
Yes, this is one of my favorite songs, and it was from a Rita Hayworth film called Pal Joey with Frank Sinatra, and he actually sang it. But Rita Hayworth was a gypsy, a dancer, and she sees herself in this role. I get too hungry for dinner at 8. I love the theater, but never come late. I never bother with people I hate. That's why the lady is a tramp.
The amazing Quinn Lemley. Everybody go check her out. You can see her on all the links over the show. Burlesque to Broadway, Rita Hayworth, The Heat Is On, and obviously all of her programs and helping to educate and get people to step on stage so they can totally elevate themselves.
Yes, an Ultimate Queen celebration. We're touring all over with my new Queen show. So and Yvonne Pedneau and Mig IS are incredible. I have Cher's guitarist. It's incredible. Come to QuinnLemley.com. We're going to be all over the country. So, and Rita is going to be I'll be in New Jersey for the summer, and I'm doing all kinds of things. A lot of theaters.
Quinn, only continued success to you, and obviously so great to see you. And thank you so much for coming on Thrive Loud. Keep thriving loudly. You're killing it.
Thank you, and I'll see you at Influence.
You will. To all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
Don't mess with Mr. In Between.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.